I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. Since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Joy is the serious business of heaven. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. There is but one good, that is God. Everything else is good when it looks to Him and bad when it turns from Him. No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. Each day we are becoming a creature of splendid glory or one of unthinkable horror. Jesus Christ did not say, "Go into all the world and tell the world that it is quite right." The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles but to irrigate deserts. The homemaker has the ultimate career. All other careers exist for one purpose only, and that is to support the ultimate career. The truth is, of course, that what one regards as interruptions are precisely one's life. The future is something which everyone reaches at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, whatever he does, whoever he is. I sometimes wonder if all pleasures are not substitutes for joy. To love at all is to be vulnerable. A pleasure is not full grown until it is remembered. It's so much easier to pray for a boar than to go and see one. The terrible thing, the almost impossible thing, is to hand over your whole self, all your wishes and precautions, to Christ. No man knows how bad he is till he has tried very hard to be good. Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different? When we Christians behave badly, or fail to behave well, we are making Christianity unbelievable to the outside world. If a man thinks he is not conceited, he is very conceited indeed. Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained. We are mirrors whose brightness is wholly derived from the sun that shines upon us. All get what they want, they do not always like it. Reality is not neat, not obvious, not what you expect. It is safe to tell the pure in heart that they shall see God, for only the pure in heart want to. Being in love first moved them to promise fidelity. This quieter love enables them to keep the promise. All their life in this world and all their adventures in Narnia had only been the cover and the title page. Now at last they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. Thirst was made for water, inquiry for truth. The sun looks down on nothing half so good as a household laughing together over a meal. Forgiveness does not mean excusing. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness. Miracles are a retelling in small letters of the very same story, which is written across the whole world in letters too large for some of us to see. This was the very reason why you were brought to Narnia, that by knowing me here for a little, you may know me better there. God cannot give us a happiness and peace apart from Himself, because it is not there. There is no such thing. Nothing you have not given away will ever really be yours. We do not want merely to see beauty. We want something else which can hardly be put into words, to be united with the beauty we see, to pass into it, to receive it into ourselves, to bathe in it, to become part of it. You may forget that you are at every moment totally dependent on God. What you see and what you hear depends a great deal on where you are standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are. Readers are advised to remember that the devil is a liar. What draws people to be friends is that they see the same truth. They share it. The instrument through which you see God is your whole self. And if a man's self is not kept clean and bright, his glimpse of God will be blurred. It is not out of compliment that lovers keep on telling one another how beautiful they are. The delight is incomplete till it is expressed. A man can no more diminish God's glory by refusing to worship Him than a lunatic can put out the sun by scribbling the word darkness on the walls of his cell. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. The door on which we have been knocking all our lives will open at last. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." The past is frozen and no longer flows, and the present is all lit up with eternal rays. If I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks to us in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. I have learned now that while those who speak about one's miseries usually hurt, those who keep silence hurt more. When Christ died, He died for you individually just as much as if you had been the only person in the world. In our own case we accept excuses too easily. In other people's, we do not accept them easily enough. If God forgives us, we must forgive ourselves, otherwise it's like setting up ourselves as a higher tribunal than Him. All these toys were never intended to possess my heart. My true good is in another world, and my only real treasure is Christ. When we lose one blessing, another is often most unexpectedly given in its place. No good work is done anywhere without aid from the Father of lights. God, who foresaw your tribulation, has specially armed you to go through it, not without pain but without stain. We may ignore, but we can nowhere evade, the presence of God. The world is crowded with Him. He walks everywhere incognito. To walk out of his will is to walk into nowhere.